Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning. Welcome to the Department of Economic History Alumni Workshop, whose theme is Making Economic Thinking Relevant, Conversations with Alumni and Stakeholders. I am hopeful that we are going to have a great day and that everyone will have something to pick from this workshop. Without wasting a lot of time, since we are already running out of it, I'm going to invite the chairperson of the Department of Economic History, who is also the outgoing country coordinator of economic thinkers, Dr. Uchewedu Kufakurimana. Shall we give him a round of applause as he comes?
Thank you. As I'm coming here, I'm thinking in terms of protocol, was I supposed to come first? But the good news is that there's my brother here, and so I can always ask for forgiveness and still keep my job if I've skipped protocol there. But perhaps the task that I have here, wearing two hats, as chairperson of the Economic History Department and also country coordinator of economic thinkers, which, as you see on your program, is one of the partners hosting this workshop, which is interesting really because there is little distinction between economic thinkers in chapter in the Economic History Department, because we are the economic thinkers found in the department. We're the think tank, so to speak, on economic thinking. So there's a lot of, convergence. In fact, the separation, the line of separation is difficult to find, but perhaps as we move, we will try to separate, to delineate the two so that perhaps you have more and more students participating in economic thinkers or other players that are not necessarily in the department, perhaps that can also assist in a very huge way. But my task here is to perhaps, I'm supposed to just tell you about the objectives of this workshop, but I decided against just telling you about the objectives of the workshop, and also thought it perhaps prudent that I tell you more about the department and also the economic thinkers, the two partners, so that at least the whole day, as we workshop, we give an appreciation of what we are doing, or at least who we are as we are doing what we are doing. So basically, this workshop, is hosted by the Department of Economic History in partnership with Economic Thinkers in chapter. And like I said, I'm the current chair of the department and the current country coordinator. Perhaps outgoing, hopefully outgoing. And let me say one or two things about both. Who are we as economic historians? This is a very, very common question that when you become an economic historian, you are literally asked every time, partly because people know so little about us. And I'm glad that we have students here who perhaps also don't know so much. But I'll try to summarize in a very, very simple way what economic history, or who we are as economic historians. For me, we are economic thinkers and analysts, all right? We study economic processes and we use the past as a laboratory. That's how I would describe it. We are economic thinkers, we're economic analysts, and we use the past as our laboratory. So we test our ideas, we test our thoughts, we test our hypotheses, our conclusions about economic processes. How best as a nation can we get out of a liquidity crunch, an inflationary environment? Then we say, what has happened elsewhere where they've had a similar experience? Why are we where we are? When we begin to historicize, we begin to understand where we are, and that becomes the first step towards sustainable solutions. So as economic historians, we are going to tell you that, look, the experience that Zimbabwe is having now is nothing new. All right, these queues, if you followed up news 2 years or so ago, or perhaps a year ago, bank queues, I mean, in Greece, you know, it was not uncommon. The so-called pigs, you know, Portugal, Italy, Greece, and Spain, they were in a financial quagmire of sorts, some of whose experiences we can really identify with as a nation. In fact, some of the experiences we have now, we even experience them as a nation, not just in the post-colonial phase. I have a student, I marked a master's dissertation of a student, Ruarashi Masocha. She was looking at coinage and monetary systems or something like that in the colonial period, and you'd see so much of our story, you know, taking place. So why are we continuously, you know, falling into the same pit, so to speak, years and years after? Perhaps we need economic historians to tell us more about what happened and how nations got around those things. That's the side of who we are as economic historians. Perhaps not only summarized, but who are we as economic thinkers? Same chapter. So Economic Thinkers is an organization that was established by the Department of Economic History in 2017. And this is an offshoot, or perhaps an, if you want, a subsidiary of Rethinking Economics. So Rethinking Economics is headquartered in UK, and you can Google more about Rethinking Economics. In fact, the objectives of Economic Thinkers in chapter derive so much from the objectives of Rethinking Economics, and they include, of course, bringing people together interested in advancing and exploring economic thinking in Africa and beyond, and to encourage collaborations and interactions between and among us as scholars, even doing what we're doing now as part of the objectives. You will see more in the more of those objectives in the constitution that is in your folder. And so today, as part of the constitution, we'll have we've set aside 45 minutes just before we go for dinner to do some kind of you know, an AGM if you want, where we will quickly come up with new office bearers, including replacing the country coordinator. So for those who want to be elected, perhaps nominated first, I suppose you may want to start campaigning now. You might want to, if you get 2 pieces of chicken, you may want to share as part of campaigning strategy, so that you're at least nominated and then elected into office. My thinking is that more of our students should participate in these spaces, And so, fine, we can assist in how things can be done, but taking a leaf from the main Rethinking Economics in UK is so student-oriented, and this is where we should move towards. So we'll get 45 minutes must be enough, because we just need 4 office bearers, the assistant and coordinator, the treasurer and the secretary. Then I will tell you more about how to go business of the business of Rethinking Economics. And maybe we have a brother here, Dr. Sunchena, who has been involved in these issues of Rethinking Economics. He can be our patron, Toba Softa. He becomes our patron in that Rethinking Economics. And then we see how it goes from there. As for this specific workshop, we have these objectives. First, we seek to specifically address the challenge of relevance. The challenge of relevance. I made reference to the issue of us as economic historians being little known. All right? It's understandable. You can explain why. Because, for example, we used to be part of economic history was done as part of BA General, all right? So you take BA General as your program, and then you do economic history and another 2 subjects, all right? And then from that group, perhaps 50, 100, at some point I taught 200 students, 220. From that group, the department would select at second year level between 5 and 10 students that would do specialize in economic history. So already we have reduced the people who are going to graduate in economic history. So since it was established in around 85, I think, or 83, 84, I'm not sure. But I know we had our first graduates in 85. But since its inception, people who were doing economic history proper were very few. All right, so much so that the trend has been people doing EH and living in the country, doing EH and living in the country, and there's been very few people who have been in the country to impact on processes, and perhaps in the process also get some kind of recognition and be known. So, and most that did economic history, and I'm seeing my former students here, Hassan and Ganyawu, they went to the schools and taught history. Do you get it? Because economic history did not exist. So even if you train an economic historian, they go into the school and they teach history. So there are economic historians far and wide in the country, but we don't know them because they come and they teach history, and then they teach it good, by the way, excellently. In America, we teach history so good, even as economic historians. All right, but what it has meant is that we have just sort of dissolved in the mass and have not been seen. But starting last year, we now offer EH, Economic History, as a program. All right, you just come here first year, you're doing economic history, and as you see in one of the items in that folder, you have a flyer that gives you a sample of some of the courses that we do, or what that we are teaching in the department. All right. So this is us moving, and this alumni is the second. And one of the things that we seek to do is to speak to the problem of relevance. Right? Because if you are not known, if you are not visible, it may be difficult to become relevant. So we are beginning to sort of increase our visibility as economic historians, and in the process, of course, engage or at least tackle the issue of relevance. We also hope, because we invited some, I know 2 have already mentioned, I've met 2 now, some what we are calling stakeholders. Everyone is a stakeholder, but we are using stakeholders specifically to refer to those in the marketplace, all right, where we get employed, where we get to deploy our economic analysis, where we get to deploy our economic thinking. And I think I've met 2. One of them is here, Karikoga, who is from the community banking, and is going to give a speech community banking. The other one is Kumara BZ. I'm not sure if he's in yet, but he confirmed last night that he'll be here. I'm not sure if there are others that I have not acknowledged. But we are also bringing in, we are hoping that this will be this will be a platform where we begin to interact, relate, make ourselves known to stakeholders, so that when you are students and you want attachment, be it for 3 months during vacation or for a whole year, it's sort of smooth or easy because we are known, we are visible. And of course, by extension, visibility of the department is also visibility of the faculty and of the institution. Ultimately, the workshop underscores the need to remodel economic thinking along changing trends and market realities. An economic historian is a versatile being able to become, among other things, a researcher, an economic planner, an advisor, a development practitioner, evaluator. The workshop is a reminder to that, too, that economic historians have been trying to understand labor processes, political processes, ideological and social processes, especially as they relate to the economic processes. There are no other better individuals, of course, to help us drive this point better than our alumni, whom we've also invited here to be part of this organization. But perhaps you may want to also know what we've been up to or what we've been doing. Apart from the courses that you see there at master's level, we also have courses like medical history in Africa, environmental history in Africa, political economic development, etc., etc. And we've been very active as a department in terms of departmental seminars. We have at least a seminar once a week. We try to make that very constant. Thanks to our seminar coordinator, Dr. Mike, who should be somewhere in this room. We hold workshops. This is our 5th, if my counting is correct, for the year. And we actually hosted a conference in August, which had a budget of $100,000 US. They literally shipped, or if you want, flew people to this place and accommodated them. So we are quite an active department, and we seek to continue being so active. We have projects that we're doing currently. We have signed MOUs, one with the Economic History Department in Sweden, and we've been trying for the past 2 years to get funding for exchange programs between students, student and teacher exchange programs, but we only managed to do a teacher exchange program, the exchange, which was not quite an exchange because it was one of our teachers who went there to teach. We are yet to have one of theirs coming to teach this side, but we are actually exploring possibilities of student exchange programs that we are looking for funding. We have an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with Ben Gurion University, which is in Israel, and currently we have a project that is running, which is called Community-Based Antiretroviral Treatment. Basically, this project, we're trying to look at models that are in place that are being used for people to access antiretrovirals, and then we assess best practices. And 6 of our students, master students, are part and parcel of that program, which is part of the operationalization of the MOU with Ben Gurion University. And this is also in partnership with BRTI, the Biomedical Research Training Institute, which is just across. And you may be surprised, this is like a scientific institute, but here we are as economic historians, as part and parcel of that project. And this has been ongoing, starting end of last year, I think. And we've had like 2 workshops so far with that on that project. There's a budget of $24,000 US. We are also doing book projects. We are finalizing on one that is titled Zimbos Never Die, Negotiating Survival in a Challenged Economy, where we are trying to see how people survived during the economic crisis, so to speak. And then there's another Agrarian Evolution in Zimbabwe, past and present. So we are doing these projects as part of our contribution as a department. By conclusion, I would like to leave you with the word Homo economicus. I'll get it up there when I get time to get to my seat. I'll leave you with the word Homo economicus. See the word. Let's call it a term. Homo economicus. Why? First, this means the human being is a rational actor, right? Capable of making judgments to achieve their own convenient ends. A human being is an actor capable of making judgments to achieve their own convenient ends. And they use rational assessments, right? There's the Homo economicus. They use rational assessments to attempt to maximize utility as a consumer and economic profit as a producer. Now, why do I think this? I should leave you this word, because as economic historians, I strongly believe that any intervention that we make, any effort at understanding economic processes should be hinged in the understanding that people, being people, are always going to calculate and see how best they can benefit from a situation. So if you're going to make an intervention and there is a loophole that people can take advantage of, that loophole is going to cause havoc. Of course, there will never be a case where loopholes will be absent, but we have to weigh and see what can you sacrifice and with what implications. I believe strongly part of our challenges in the country are as a result of missing this point. Thank you.
That was Dr. Kufakurinani, who is the chairperson of the Economic History Department and outgoing country coordinator of Economic Thinkers Zimbabwe Zim chapter. I dare say possibly incoming country coordinator as well. I'm not sure whether he's ruling himself out on that one. I'm also hopeful that to those who are aspiring, our students that are here, high school students, you have had an idea of what economic history is about and what opportunities lie ahead if you choose to study economic history. At this time, I'm going to invite Mr. Musariri to come and give us a short poetical interlude. Let's give him a round of applause.
I'm sorry, Batwishgar. I'm sorry, Dr. Fupa, Economic History. I'm sorry, the invited guest. I'm sorry, representative of the Faculty of Arts. I'm sorry, my students for sitting both presenters. My name is Musari Twitch. Mudetembi, Weshona. Shashamska kuti for economic history zabuya nekushona zvazvipipo. Ndo zvatinoita isu kana tiri kwedu. Ndakaona kutoti vanhu vazhinji havanzwisisi economics kana dziri kuchirungurungu. Ndikati aiwa regedzai ndidzisoni kuchishona kuitira kuti vana mbuya vedu vekumusha vanzwisise kuti zvakamira sei. Zvino kana tichitaura ndichishona ichi ndinokumbirisa kuti munatse kunzwisisa kuti vara rimwe nerimwe richareva kuti kudini. Nekuti nichange ndichitaura nemutauro chaita kuti zvinyatso make sense. Netembo yanichatanga kuita inonzi kuungudza kweAfrica. Chiudzi chinopungara pasina moto ndicho kachidza vana kumadokero. Mumaodzanyemba majaya mhandara nemitana yatsokutumira mudhorobha. Vachikupura zveziya romutunhu murefu wafambwa. Kuti amhembe rinyari rwangu wamadamburikiti mutariko wemambembe. Ore nhema ndiyode kudzimedza zviruto zvevana. Maongirira kuti napesingana ndobatisa ndumure nebuka. Idzo dzorara dzichivhumuka sekagariswa pamuro wakatsvuka. Kuri kurota zvigena remoto wapedza rudzi. vana amai minjya mbereki yedamuka nekubereka zvibambaira, vana vachisuka matipo negwesha sekunge vana mai vakatsvamusana. Kurwanda ndumure dzopuwa bhuku rezamu pakati swagidi kuungudza kwavari pauranda aitwa mhanzi kune vari padivi reshumba, vane zvitsaka zvakatsimbirwa nemabwe emusarasara, kujaira kwemeso nhasi koita tsvina misodzi nesikarudzi patinonzwa misinde yavo, kunyanzwa utesvedzerwa wazame uchingoshaura zviya zvisina anonzwa, maungira emapumainzisa achingoshaura rwiyo rusina mubvumiri, mhanzi aigwe mukilimanjaro ingosina kumbunyikidzwa kenhoroono, nhasi africa ingwa bindu risina ruzhowa, yotanyangana yose mubvakure simbe dziri dzakapinza, changosara zvinongwa murabungu wakaputirwa nerukope rwohuru isina tsitsi. Ko nhai vana soro jena, madiko makuya mukabika wenjera, mapa dzenyu ndumure dzakapuwa matumbu enyu zvizinzi kusari. Iyi inonzi kuungudza kweAfrica. Chaita kopedzisira kanonzi pamuzinda pachikandamina. Ingozi here kugara muzinda muno, masiriro okupota kwemeso zvasingachapi matamai vedu vana, mhere ndokwa chakachirairo nokusvura muzinda muno machikandamina. Bangaure munhu arishaira kunge mwana ari kucheka huku, pfutidzorera kwose kwose kunge mupande ndika wangu kati kwekuturuka kwedonodzera pasi, ivhu ratibuka chokwadi, midzimu yanhazi yotorwa neropa kunge yavarwa. Chiko nhai vachikandamina, ingozi here tibike dorotera padzimu tisati tapedzana, ingozi here yatigara muzinda muno, denda risina murapi zvarawadza huku muzinda wose, huona zvoita shura matongo, wairadza hapana achamuka, rakatishanyira rimwe denda pamwe ndo vanoti bhola, rikatishungurudza kunge pfumo renyuchi, muzinda wose ukandengendeka kunge tatsuka namaromo. Ameno vedu vana vakaroona ramangwana, n'anga dzoti tapedza singaumurira gona ropedza mhuri ndo yashaipa. Chiko nhai vachikandamina, ingozi here tibike dorotero adzimu tisati tapedzana, ingozi here yatigara muzinda muno, mitupu here yamakadya yadonedza mene vedu vana, ipfuma yamai here yamakarodza itigokera ngozi muno musha, matunduru here yamakadya marasiro dzina kuti ndisarwadzira muno musha, nhai vachikandamina. Ko zvamusingapinduri toti kudiko kune vedu vana, bvunzo yavo zvainongoti naye kunge chimbura mawe, tichadyawo rimweko richavhara wangwarudzo hwedu ura wangu wagwarire mhepo, zuva nezuva tinongopopota ura wamapako, asi mbiki wesadza hatishoki. Tosvikepiko tinanza madziri hari kunge mapeti, anoziva ndowoti ungazoguta here pakukokota yavo tadzoguta pakukamuna. Thank you so much. Ndisati ndaenda ndiri kuorganization inonzi Indigenous African Languages Association inotungamirwa naDr. Kufakurinani, kwatinoita zvedu zvekuditemba nekunyora. Kana kune vari interested munokwanisa kuuya tiwande. Tatenda.
Thank you, Mr. Musariri. As you can see, pane zviri kuitika kuIndigenous African Languages Association. I want to invite again the chairperson, Dr. Kufakurinani. Maybe before he does the introduction, we could ask him to give us a poem of his own. We got a footnote here from the previous poet that the organization is led by Dr. Kufakurinani. So I challenge him to bring a poem of his own before he does the introductions.
Unlike Musariri, Kusarira, I knew I can read. So I will quickly, like enough I have something in my phone here, so allow me to pick something that can just warm you in your seat. So yes, I am hopefully also the outgoing president or chairperson of the Indigenous African Languages Association, and we've been doing quite a lot there, trying to promote African languages. So what I'll do here is, try to read a poem or two. Let me try a poem, unless if there is demand for another. But I will look for one that will zvichangopedza neimwe zvokuti hamuzodi imwe. Right, so here I am scrolling, I'm skipping Gabwe Gachichi, I am skipping Marapatsetse, I am skipping Mbudzi Kudya Mufenje, I am skipping Ndangaradzo Chikoro, I am skipping Kufa Kurinani, I am skipping Radambura Msungu. Let me come to Marapatsetse. Right. So, Marapatsetse, this is how it goes. Kuti unze Marapatsetse waitei. Unenge wabvei? Kuri unenge warevei? Kuri kudya wamboryei. Marapatsetse inongomhara pese pese, inongovaka musasa kwese kwese. Pana chamu makanaka rudo vese vese. Angava mukadzi kana murume kungokumba wese wese. Kuita kwa Marapatsetse hakusekese, regai ipapo tipachekese. Kudonzi itawo sedzimwe pwere dzinoritira mhuri nerudo rusingapere. Iwe zvimiti munzeve ndo chokwadi here. Kuomesa musoro uchiita zvisina njere. Sari kuti dana yanguva mhere maitiro iwayo Marapatsetse. Kudokuitawo chikoro savamwe uvhurike maonero ako savana Chambwe. Iwe tana komesa samabwe wako upenyu huchava hwako kwako paZimbabwe. Mviromviro yacho kuva Marapatsetse isingaudzwe. Kuda kuti meso anoputsa iwe woti tisiri kukukudza, wabate pano wabate apo. Apo zvewo chiti ndoda panogutsa zvazokuipira kuti isingaba kuudzwa. Nekuti unenge wasarudza kuva chii? Marapatsetse. Nesomiso yevanhu anouraya ukaita zvinhu usina kugaya, uchida kufarirwa navasikana namajaya. Iwe tsve zvawakati uchaita paya paya. Zvadai watova Marapatsetse. Uchiona wako akakubereka akati machamutava nhava kutsvaka dhora reAmerica, kubuda ziya kukuriritira kusara iye achifemereka. Wakura zvinovava samakonya mupazi weboterekwa. Wokanganwa mubereki uchida mufundisi stereki. Tichikuona toti Marapatsetse futsei. Right, so hey, this young man put me by spotlight. But anyway, yes, allow me to take this opportunity to introduce our guests. Who do we have here? Amongst us, ladies and gentlemen, are our esteemed guests. To the far right, my right, is Depros Nchena, an alumni that is former student of the department, having graduated in 1996. He is with Amnesty International. You can Google. He's the regional director, am I right? Southern Africa. Thank you. And to his left, ladies and gentlemen, Siwongile Mauye, graduated 1987, economic history. I hope she will tell you a lot. She has a tendency to be on the humble side, but I've pushed her to say a lot about the journey. And I hope she will say a lot about the journey. Currently, she's one of the 9 gender commissioners. 9 gender commissioners, the Gender Commission of Zimbabwe. We are happy to have her here. We have our acting VC, Professor Taringa, who is here representing the VC's office. He's at the end, my very own brother as well from the faculty. We have staff members from the department. Staff members, do you mind just waving your hands? And GTAs, that is graduate teaching assistants, who are neither staff members, they are just somewhere between. More students though. Can you wave? You are young, you can actually stand up. Our graduate teaching assistants from the department, they are the ones who are serving you. Others are back there. We have students from the department. Students from the department, do you mind raising your hands? You are in very few numbers. There are actually more. Some have chosen not to be part of this exercise. We should go up to 200. We're excited. Kotwa are coming last because we're excited. We have our alumni, that is former members, former students of the department. Can you show by raising your hands, those who are here? Former students from the department. All right. Takuwa watu wa former student, because you are graduating on Wednesday. Before we graduate, you are yet to be former. We may not graduate you. Then we have our students. Are you called peoples? Peoples, people also. So we have our students, high school students. I know of Uma, where are you? Yes, I thought there were 4 of you. There were just 3 of you. Apana tikumandukenda workshop akadarika nekumwera. Given that you resisted to bring your uniform. Yes, then we have Kotwa, students from Kotwa. Thank you. It's nice to have you here. Ladies and gentlemen, our stakeholders. All right. At this point, I have introduced Karikoga Trimo from Community Bank. But there may be more that are coming. The guy from RBC, I'm not sure if he called last evening, is confirming he'll be coming. Bam, did you raise your hand as former student? Okay. I didn't see that. All right, thank you very much. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our acting VC, Professor Taringa, to give us his welcome remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to you all. The Director of Ceremonies, the Chairperson of the Department of Economic History, all Senior University of Zimbabwe management. I'll recognize some of them, though in absentia. The Pro-Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Professor Machiri in absentia. The Registrar, Dr. N. A. Mtongoren in absentia. The Librarian, Ms. H. Konzo in absentia. The Dean of the Faculty of Arts, Professor Itai Mwati in absentia. Chairpersons of departments here present. Director of institutes here present. Economic history members of staff here present. Economic history alumni, conference organizers. I also want to recognize our important invited guests who have already been mentioned. Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I present the Acting Vice Chancellor's speech, I would like to maybe let Dr. Kufa know that maybe they are no longer called pupils. I think the term that is being used now is learners rather than pupils. I also want to recognize our learners from high schools. You are most welcome. You make us feel belated. We feel warm. If the Acting Vice Chancellor was here, he was going to say the following. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to the second Economic History Alumni Workshop. This workshop comes at a time when Africa in general and Zimbabwe in particular need to rethink economics and to make economic thinking relevant in order to address development related first at both country and continent level. This commitment towards rethinking economics thus become the heartbeat of this workshop. The development of economic thinking in Africa has largely been advanced by economists and economic historians. Even then, this economic thinking has largely been modeled along Western epistemologies. As a result, economic thinking has, and by and large, been removed from African realities. For Africa, this entails a lot of things. Among these, one is the need to develop economic thinking grounded in and relevant to sustainable African economic development. This will provide significant homegrown solutions which are crucial in addressing 21st century African challenges. It is very critical for Africa to be able to contribute to its own interpretations of African economic experiences in this global world. It is also important that this workshop openly discusses and integrates the discipline of economic history within the broader context of Africa's development needs. What does crucial questions to be asked include? What does new economic thinking entail for Africa? What practical solutions can new economic thinking bring to African economic problems? It is not a secret that Zimbabwe in particular and Africa at large have, however, for quite a while been experiencing serious economic challenges. Does this not call for a shift in economic thinking? If it does, what framing is needed for this new economic thinking? We believe strongly that economic history has a very huge role to play, hence the need to create platforms for discussion and debate. As we gather here, the country is facing a plethora of challenges ranging from liquidity challenges, low industrial production, to high levels of unemployment. If you ask an economic historian, they will tell you that these are not new challenges to humanity and they have had successful solutions. economic historians become critical as think tanks that can tap into the past experiences to inform the present. Their training in economic analysis from past experiences allows them, to some extent, to predict the impact of policies. An economic historian can tell you liberalization of the economy in style of IMF's structural adjustment program will bring doom. They will also tell you that import substitution for industrialization has been tried elsewhere, for example in Latin America, and had mixed successes. If the same is to happen in Zimbabwe, for example, certain measures should be put in place first to avoid blunders made elsewhere. Our very own statutory instruments need constant research and revisiting to assess their efficacy, and this is where economists and economic historians come in. The current situation where the country is a net importer of almost everything from consumer to capital goods is surely untenable for an economy such as ours. We need to come up with informed policies guided by research to work on these issues. Admittedly, there is so much more that would need to be done to help turn around the economy. As economic historians, they will tell you the so-called Asian tigers and dragons were a success as a result of a combination of factors. African nations, including Zimbabwe, have a potential to follow the same paths. Finally, we are happy as a university to be hosting this workshop because apart from reminding policymakers of the importance of research, it also builds on the university's 2016-2020 strategic plan, which seeks to generate research that informs policy. The workshop also builds greater relationships with the department's alumni and, by extension, communities beyond the university's borders. These synergies, it is hoped, will yield partnerships, innovative pursuits in both academia and the marketplace. With these words, I wish you a fruitful and pleasant deliberations. And on behalf of the Acting Vice Chancellor, I therefore declare the workshop open. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the acting Vice Chancellor. At this time, we are going to take a short break. We are going to go for our breakfast, which I'm sure is now ready. And I would like to advise us that we need to take as little time as possible so that our program does not go way out of schedule. So we are going to go away for about 15 minutes, and I will invite our musician to serenade us with some, cool vibes while we are having tea and coffee. Shall we give him a round of applause as he comes? For our breakfast, we go out through this door, and you will see, the people that are doing the service on the other side. So let's just go there quietly. We allow first our dignitaries to go out, after which we can then join them. Thank you very much. Let's meet in exactly 15 minutes time.